Hey guys, and welcome back. To get all of our NBA picks, you can check those out over at stumpthespread.com. Links down in the video description, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to continue to get all of our NBA pick video plays throughout the season. Heading into today's action, we got some very intriguing matchups on the board. The NBA always does a great job of giving us intriguing matchups in these nationally televised games on special days such as the first day of the regular season. We have Boston versus Cleveland, Houston versus Golden State. Wouldn't be surprised to see either of these matchups at the end of the year in the postseason in these respective conference title games. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the Boston versus Cleveland matchup and where we think the better bet value-wise is going to be on the over-under, which is currently at 212.5 points. But Cleveland also finds themselves as about 3.5 point favorites here on that home court. A lot of this for Cleveland is going to probably come down to LeBron James and whether he puts a full effort into this one, and if he's healthy enough to go and give a full effort. Even at 80-90%, he can certainly help Cleveland quite a bit in terms of potentially going on to get this win and helping that over get pushed. From the information we have at this point of me making the video, it seems like LeBron is probably going to be playing in this one, but still not a guaranteed for sure. But Cleveland, probably not as much to prove and play for here as Boston. You know, Boston, they're a team that did quite a bit of reforming with their roster, giving up Isaiah Thomas, who just did so much great things for the Celtics last year, bringing in Kyrie Irving, who many think can take the Celtics potentially to the next level, not just this year, but many years to come here in the future. And then also bringing in Gordon Hayward, a great addition there. With this over-under just at 212.5 points, it doesn't seem like a really high number, but if LeBron James isn't able to go, certainly this becomes a bit tougher task to get that over number. But also, if you go to the end of last season in the NBA, in the playoffs, which is typically a time where you see more defensive-oriented basketball, that wasn't really as much of the case this past postseason. We saw a ton of overs hit, very high scoring, and that just seems to be the way the NBA is trending as an entire league right now. More analytic, trying to get easy buckets in transition, a lot more three-pointers being shot, more efficient shots, you know, trying to get the best possible results and highest scoring results possible for the efficiency of these offenses. And that's really allowed the offenses of pretty much every team in the NBA to increase in their productivity in recent years, and especially last season overall. So not going to be surprised to see even more high-scoring games as we head into the 2017-18 season. So just going back to the preseason, which obviously doesn't mean that much, but nonetheless, Boston went 4-0 in the preseason, actually looking pretty impressive, winning every game in the preseason by 8 points or more, for whatever that's worth, but also just testing themselves against the Charlotte Hornets and 76ers, 2 games against each of those opponents, and not testing themselves any more than those 4 games. Then you have Cleveland. They played in 5 preseason games. They lost their first 4 games, not looking great at all in those outings, but then they were able to close things out at least with a win in their last outing against the Magic, which was a little bit better result there. They were able to put up 113 points, which was their best offensive performance by quite a large margin there in the preseason. Prior to that, they had scored 94, 94, 93, and 102. And in comparison to the Celtics, who have been looking a bit better offensively, 108, 113, 110, and 94 points respectively in their preseason games. But also, now that we're heading into the regular season, the first-string guys are going to get a lot more time on the court, which should help in terms of the offensive output of both of these teams. And if you just look at their numbers from last year, Cleveland, they were the 4th-ranked offensive team in all of the NBA compared to just 20th in total team defense. And then the Celtics were 7th overall in scoring compared to 15th in total team defense. So certainly 2 teams that did a pretty good job of putting up a large amount of points on the board consistently throughout the regular season. If you take their averages from last year, obviously last year's teams were different than this year's teams, but same coaching and strategy implemented. But Boston, they averaged 108 points per game, while Cleveland averaged just over 110 points per game. So you add those 2 up, and you get 218.3 points between these 2 squads, which is actually quite a significant larger number than the 212.5 points that we see heading into this one. But also you have to do have to consider the fact that these are teams that might not be completely comfortable with each other at this point, given the fact that a lot of roster changes have been made and important pieces added and subtracted in each squad's case. So just directly comparing it to last year's numbers, isn't necessarily the most useful thing, but it's the numbers that we have to work with at this point. So taking everything into account, given the fact that the NBA is trending more towards higher scoring, more efficient offensive units, given the fact that even in times when you expect lower scoring games, we saw much higher scoring than average contests last year, especially in the postseason. And if you just take in the statistics of both of these teams and what they were able to produce last year and the coaching philosophies that were implemented, one would think that the over seems like the better value bet heading into this one, even with LeBron James' status being a bit questionable at this point. So that's going to be our video play for today's action, guys. Siding with the over 212.5 points. And again, to get all of our NBA picks, you can check those out every single day over at stumpthespread.com, link down in the video description. And be sure to click that subscribe button on our YouTube channel to continue to get all of our NBA pick video plays throughout the regular season. So thanks for stopping on in, guys, and we hope to see you in future videos. Bye.